So we're in our grain storage portion of the bakery. I wanted to spend a moment talking about the various flours that we currently use, or just actually various dry ingredients. We store most of our dry ingredients in here, and it's actually a little bit of a challenge as you grow, the amount of dry ingredients that you need on hand grows with you. It's not really something that you think about at first. Back in 2017, when we first took this bakery on, I would buy 8 50-pound bags of flour at a time, bring them all, and sometimes have more for the next week. Now, if we don't have full pallets of flour around, we will run out. This is actually only a 2 or 3 week supply. We just got a delivery yesterday, and our next delivery is planned for about 3 weeks from now. And that's about how much we're going to go through. These are our locally milled flours, and then this is our regionally milled section of white flour. So we have our whole grain blends here. This one is called Proof Blend after our bakery. Basically, this represents 5 different flours that are blended together, and it's a master blend that we came up with. So before Proof Blend was a whole, and we got it that way with a label that said Proof Blend, we actually got a bunch of different local flours from Hayden flour mills. White Sonora, Bluebeard Durham. We're playing with some malted wheat at the time that we're milling ourselves from Grain R&D, some Hard Red Spring, and then some base white flour. And we were doing that master blend with the ratios that we like together. At some point, the mill worked with us and said, hey, we can actually do this blending process for you more efficiently. Because it was actually taking quite a bit of time to do that before every mix. So now we get these 50-pound bags of our blend, and they're ready to go. So I can put 2 of these bags into my bigger mixer and get it running for a full mix of sourdough, 120 loaves. Whereas before, I had to tease out the right amount of each blend to create that blend for every single mix. And of course, we did that longer than we've been doing this, but this is a way of us being able to keep the integrity while also gaining a little bit of efficiency. So we can spend our time on creative things as opposed to spending our time on mechanical things. This is our White Sonora blend. Right now, in the season of the year that we're in, we're using slightly more of this than we are of our Proof Blend. This inverts as we get deeper into winter and we start using more Proof Blend. People tend to buy more bread in the winter time. People tend to buy more pastries in the summertime. Our main pastry blend has White Sonora whole grain flour as its heritage grain and whole grain component, and the rest of it is a white flour that creates a strong base. So this is what we use for pastries, English muffins, sandwich loaves, whereas the Proof Blend is what we use for more of our artisan loaves, because this is now primarily whole grain, and the minority is actually white flour. And then we get to our regional mill. This is our stack from Central Milling. They are a mill that's been around for a long time. The mill is based in Utah, and many of the best bakeries in the west side of the country rely on Central Milling for some or all of their flour. We feed our sourdough starter white, unbleached bread flour. It's non-enriched. It's just wheat, and so that's called the artisan flour, Red Rose Artisan. Then we also use a High Mountain high gluten flour from them. This is an organic high gluten flour, and we use this specifically to build strength in our dough. So this has a really high protein content. We have some rolled oats here for some oatmeal bread, some powdered sugar. We use untreated sea salt for our salt, and we also buy this in 50-pound bags from our regional mill. It's nice and convenient. Every time we buy white flour, we also get a shipment of salt. We get some rice flour from a local restaurant supply store to dust the tops of our loaves. It's actually primarily for contrast and for Emerald's artwork. We have some granulated sugar in-house, And this is also from Hayden Flour Mills. This is their byproduct bran that sifts away during their milling process. This stuff is great to dust our boards with so that the bread doesn't stick to the boards as we're sliding it into the oven. And so that's what we use bran for. This is our primary dry ingredient area. We have some modular bins inside the bakery, so bins that are either these rolly bins here or these other food storage bins that open up but are stackable. And so the stuff that we use on a day-to-day basis we keep here, and we keep it in bulk storage in that other room. Grain storage is something that we have to really consider in our new build out that we're doing. We expect, we're growing into a larger space, and that comes with a larger financial responsibility. To cover that responsibility, we have to balance the business and grow it a little bit so that it's, healthy again financially. And so we have to think about even more ability to store grains. You can see that we already used quite a bit of square feet to store grains, and now that square footage count has to grow. So that's part of the difficulty in scaling up, is everything grows, and some things you need more space for. Grains definitely are one of them, where space is precious. So on the discussion of flour and grain storage, my biggest encouragement to folks that are just kind of going through this in an earlier stage is to start investigating what mills are around you and whether they'll deliver to where you're operating from. We have milling partners that will deliver to a residential location, as an example. So having a relationship directly with a mill definitely puts you in a stronger position to weather all kinds of situations. In fact, a great example of this is just the situation that we're dealing with right now. Since March of 2020, if you go to a restaurant supply store such as a US Foods or a Restaurant Depot in the US, or your equivalent somewhere else, US Foods has had a 1-bag limit on all flour in their locations since March. And what's interesting is 3 years ago, we bought all of our flour that way. We went to the store, bought bags of flour. If we had not switched to working with mills directly, we would have experienced a really severe disruption in the spring of 2020, when all of a sudden as a bakery we weren't allowed to buy more than 50 pounds of flour at a time from a store. So it pays to have a good relationship with your mill. In my situation, it was one text message to my mill saying, all of a sudden I have a lot more people wanting bread because they can't get it at the grocery store, so can you double my order? And they got right on it. So I can't say enough about working out relationships with mills that are in your region or in your area. Even if they are, getting white flour from a mill is better than getting white flour from the store for the reason I just described. And it's difficult to get the first relationship because you have to be at a level where you can buy about a pallet of flour at a time. But when we first started, we were letting that flour go for us for a couple months. So we started buying flour by the pallet as soon as we had space to store a pallet of flour for a few months. Now we go through multiple pallets a month, but I'm thankful that we started when we did. And of course, like any other bit of growth that we've ever done, it's always uncomfortable. Right now, it's really uncomfortable to think about building out a commercial facility. When we first started getting pallets of flour delivered, we were kind of in shock when a first whole pallet of flour dropped on our driveway, and now, well, that's our delivery. We were just talking about it for the whole day because it was such a novelty back then. As I imagine, it's sort of a novelty to see this many pallets of flour in a garage. But that's kind of the reality as things progress. If you have a good product and you serve your community well, people will continue to buy from you in larger and larger numbers. So, think about your space along those lines and how to design your space in such a way to accommodate grains. You can't be serious about baking if you don't have a place for your grains.